Hello. The effect of effectiveness factors of social media influence on consumer attitudes. We will start the presentation. Introduction. According to the Digital Growth Status report published in April 2021 by we are social global marketing consulting firm on the FoCoS.IDIC. Social media management platform 53.6 of the world's population use social media. Korean social media users rate was 89.3 of the total population, which was confirmed to be the second highest in the world. This status means that social media is taking its place as a universal service as it penetrates deeply into our daily life on the social sphere. With the generation of network-based smartphone user record on the share their daily lives on the access various contexts on the information through this. The growth of social media has spread the impression of influencers who interact on the share information with social media users. Influencer users refer to celebrities who influence society have numerous followers in the social media platform environment and have influence on the ripple effects and users. The people who use social media the most are Generation M. It was found that they trust and be influenced by the information providers by influencers when purchasing products online. It is that they trust in information of influence more than the information of acquaintance. When the format of imitation features of follows for product of friends used by social media influence occurs. Companies are actively using influence marketing. With this growth on the influence of influence, social media is now evolving into a social commerce channel according to the data presented by Quatra in influence marketing. Marketing increased 5 times in 2020 from 2017. Social media influence marketing is becoming more and more important as it is now an essential fact rather than an option for companies. They operate from network on social media such as YouTube on are exerting influence. As the trends in the advertising marketing on the distribution industry. The influence on the growth of social media influence is a source of interest in academia and related studies are being conducted. Previous studies have focused on the influence of social media influence. Development of a large scale of social media influence information sources. Social user responses and response on media inflation elevate on the characteristic. Social media influence a study on consumer attitudes according to the characteristics of as seen in previous studies. Studies and reviews on the characteristics of influence has progressed, but studies examining the attitudes of social media used by specifying electiveness among the electives of influence are insufficient. Therefore, in this study, first the electiveness of social media influence as a differentiated product information social from legacy media is composed of lead factors on this effect. Of these factors and consumer attitudes is investigated. Research hypothesis. Research hypothesis on influence electiveness will have a positive effect on interaction. Research positive to influence electiveness will have a positive effect on information reliability. Research hypothesis influence elective will have a positive effect on product attitude. Research hypothesis for influence elective media's introduction on the will have a positive effect on information reliability. Research hypothesis 5 influence elective medians elective on the will have a positive effect on product attitude. Research method. Sample selection on the data collection. The respondents of this study were well under female college students in the 20s whose social media the amount at least the number of survey participants was win hundreds 65 on the among the responses win 162 people excluding non-response on the 6,000 responses was as analysis data for this study. The analysis age of the responses was 21.76. Gender consistency of 63 based on the 99. The survey for this student was conducted from May 3rd to 13, 2021. Analysis method. The analysis method for this study is as follows. First, to confirm the methodographic characteristics of the respondents. The frequency analysis on the average value of the characteristic statistics were checked. Second, the Cronbach-Elf value was checked to check the interest continuity of the constituting the variables. Third, an experience fact analysis was conducted to confirm the fact constituting the variables. Fourth, possible regulation analysis to check the relation between variables on the mediated regulation analysis to check the mediated effect were formed together. For hypothesis testing, elective force of social media influence. An exploratory fact analysis was conducted to verify the validity of the items corresponding to the elected of social media influence on the to find the conductors factors. Perfect extract for this purpose, principal components analysis on the barometric rotation were used. Fact 1 was named as external electiveness because it consisted of items that social media influence were liked by obstacle and specifics emerged. Fact 2 was named as social electiveness because it consisted of influence opinions. Explosive power on the sense of humor on that day seemed to have a good relationship with people around them. Surprising above result, the electiveness level of social media influence was derived from two factors. External regulars on the social electiveness. 4.2. The effect of elective factors of social media influence and interest multiple regulation analysis was performed. To test the hypothesis, the factors constituting influence or electiveness influence. Interaction, the analysis results are shown in Table 2. First, vertical relations was determined to check the correlation between independent variables for multiple regulation analysis. As a result of examining the VIF value, for this performance, it was compared to V 1.546. Therefore, it was determined that there was no multicolor linearity between the independent variables. As a result of accompanying the influence electiveness and interaction rest in the above result. It was found that external electiveness had a greater positive effect. Next, it was found that social elective has a positive effect on interaction. Therefore, hypothesis win is observed. 4.3. The effect of electiveness factors of social media influence on information reliability. Multiple regulation analysis was performed to test the hypothesis that factors constituting influential electiveness affect the reliability of information. The analysis results are shown in Table 3. As a result of computing the effect of influence, electiveness, and information reliability. Based on the above result, it was found that experienced electiveness had the greatest positive effect. Next, it was found that social electiveness had a positive effect on the relators of information, therefore the hypothesis was accepted. Four point four. Factors or elective purpose of social media influence and product attitudes. Multiple regulation analysis was conducted to test the hypothesis that text constituting social media influence electiveness influence product attitude. The analysis results are shown in Table 4. As a result of confirming the effect of influence elective on product attitude best, and the above result was found that external electiveness had the greatest positive effect. Next, it was found that social electiveness had a positive effect on product attitude, therefore hypothesis 3 was accepted. Four point five. Interaction mediating effect between effects of social media influence on the reliability of information. Mediated regulation analysis was performed to test the hypothesis that the electiveness of influence media's interaction and affected the reliability of information. The analysis results are shown in Table 5. In the first step, for the mediation regulation analysis, it was found that the external electiveness on the social elective of the independent variable had a significant effect on the interaction. In addition, it was confirmed that the higher the inflation external electiveness and the social electiveness, the higher interaction, the amount of explanation explaining the interaction was found to be 20.6. In step 2, it was confirmed that experienced electiveness on the social electiveness of the independence elective had a significant effect on the reliability of information. It was confirmed that the higher the experience electiveness of the influence on the higher the social elective, the higher the information reliability. The amount of explanation explaining the reliability of information was confirmed to be 27.0. In step 3, the influence of independent variables on the parameters and the dependence variable was analyzed. The interaction was confirmed to have a significant effect on the reliability of the information. Therefore, it was confirmed that there is a mediating effect. Also, it was confirmed that the external elective on the social elective of independent variables soul had an effect on the reliability of information, so it was confirmed that there was a financial faster mediating effect among the mediating effects. It was confirmed that the higher the experience electiveness on social electiveness and the higher the interaction, the higher the information reliability. Hypothesis 4 was confirmed to be accepted. For import 6, interaction mediates the effect between elective factors on the product attitudes of social media influencers. Mediated collaboration analysis was conducted to test the hypothesis that the elective of influence media's interaction on the influence product attitude. The analysis results are shown in Table 6. In the first stage of the mediated regulation, analysis the external elective and the social electiveness of the independence variables were found to have a significance effect and the interaction. In addition, it was confirmed that the higher the influential external electiveness and the social electiveness, the higher the interaction. The amount of explanation that explains the interaction is 20.6. In step 2, it was a component that explains electiveness on the social electiveness of independent variables had a significant effect on product attitude. It was a component that the higher the external electiveness of the influence on the higher the social electiveness, the higher the product attitude, the amount of experience explaining the product attitude was confirmed to be 27.4. In step 3, the influence of independent variables on the performance and the dependent variable was analyzed. Interaction was confirmed to have a significant effect on product attitude. Therefore, it was confirmed that there is a mediating effect. In addition, it was confirmed that externalist electiveness on the social electiveness of independent variables had an effect on product attitude. Therefore, it was confirmed that there was a financial mediating effect among the mediating factors. It was confirmed that the higher explaining elective on the social electiveness, on the higher the interaction, the higher product attitude. The amount of explaining the product attitude was confirmed to be 43.8. 43.8. Survey test was competent to determine the influence of influence electiveness and product attitude by mediating interaction. As a result of Sobel's variable gate, or factors of influential electiveness saw that the Z value was at the 0.96. Therefore, it was confirmed that there is a financial mediating effect. Hypothesis 5 was confirmed to be accepted. 5 conclusion on the discussion. Recently, social media influence marketing is growing rapidly. Unlike influence operating in legacy media, they communicate by delivering information on company product and service to consumer with a level of influence using social media characteristics. In this context, this study identified the elective factors of social media influence on variable verified their relationship with consumer attitudes. In addition, the relationship between variables was verified or the effectiveness factors of information mediated interactive in information reliability on the product attitudes. The discussion according to the study result is as follows. First, the factoring constituting the effectiveness of social media influence was identified as the social election on the external election. The external election of social media influence conferred in this study was found to be elective with their stylish appearance on the sophisticated image. This elect is interested as having the characteristic on the homogeneity of the influence of the existing legacy media. It was found that social elect of social influence means that they are liked to form the good relations with the people around them, as well as their excellent offerings and explanation. Therefore, the social elect is interested as a distinguished as the election that can be felt by social media influence. Second, it was found that the higher the external on the social elect of the influence, the more poverty influence effects and the interaction between the social media user and the influencer. The implications are as follows. It was confirmed that the influencer sophisticated image on the elective appearance had all parties effect and interaction with social media users. In education, it is shown that the social elected due to the influencer's excellent affinities. Expressive power on the sense of humor has a positive effect, and the interactions such as participation in events suggested by the influencer. Third, it was confirmed that the influence external on the social elected has a positive effect on the reliability of information. This result intellectuals as more reliable on the versus information provided by social media influence as the influence and physical election and the favorability higher. In addition, the influence election reflected power, explained power on the offense are considered to be positive on the level in the production information property by social media influence. Fourth, it was confirmed that influence external election on the social election head-on. Positive effect in product attitude. These results are interesting as a consumer interact on the liking for product recommended by social media influence mean stylish looks on the sophisticated image. In addition, it was a comfort that the higher the influence excellent sense of humor on the social collectiveness that is likely to form a good relations with the people around them. The more positive attitude were formed to the products interested by the social media influence. First, it was confirmed that the social influence favors sensitive on the fast-paced imaging social relate good relationship with people around on the excellent opinions earned. Expressiveness within interaction with consumer earned. This result suggests that companies should consider the selection of information socials in context of the explainer on the social elect of social media influence in order to increase interaction with consumer on the influence information reliability. 6. It was confirmed that the social media influence great personality on the favorite the external election have a favorite reflection effect and interaction that leads to communication or event perturbation with consumer. Influence with high product explained foul, expressive foul on the opinions were compared to have a social attraction. It was a confident that they had a positive effect on interaction with consumer. This is the external on the social relation of social influence lead to communication with the consumer, and it was a confirmed that they have a question on the interest in the product they describe. Therefore, this suggests that companies influence marketing strategies that consider the external on the social effect of social media influence. With the I will end my presentation. Thank you.